Hey guys, this is Money Value. My name is Olga and I'm back to talk to you about some factors influencing investment returns, or to be more specific, compound interest. That's what gives you profit in the long-term perspective. One of my goals is that in 10 years I want to be able to support my family just because of dividend income. But that's in 10 years. As for today, I'm gonna tell you what the compound interest is, how much each reinvested dollar is gonna make, and share some other invest hacks. It's like life hacks just for the investment. Okay, you obviously got that. Anyway, there is a way to increase your passive income. You might have already got that it's called compound interest. Despite the vibe of complexity, it's not a rocket science. I'm sure you'll find it pretty easy to understand. Compound interest is a simple way to increase your passive income. The thing is, whenever you get a profit, don't spend it. Just reinvest in stocks, yield of bonds, or whatever it is you're interested in. By the way, you can also do that when you are dealing with the bank saving account. After you get the percent of your money, put that money back on your saving account. So the total deposit grows bigger and you will get a larger sum the next time. For example, if you had $1 and received $1.10 in a year, you could reinvest it and make $1.21 in 2 years compared to $1.20 if you didn't reinvest. If you're not excited, make them millions and do me a favor, don't lose 10 grand. So, why is it called compound interest? The thing is, when you reinvest, you get the interest for your interest that you already got. So your new 10 cents you got last year is also bringing you money. Well, if you are good at math, and I really hope you are, you can see that this thing will make you double your capital in 8 years instead of 10. If you are not that good at math, well, just trust me. But that's not it. I can almost see how people that deal with quotation of securities are rolling their eyes. Don't do that, guys. You can profit from compound interest in it too. The algorithm is still the same. You get your profit, you buy stocks, thus you'll get more profit than if you hadn't done it. There is one more thing you need to know. Now, listen carefully. Those companies that keep paying dividends during stagnation period lose less of a stock price than other companies. The key reason is reduction in the dividend amount to be paid in order to increase the amount of spare money that can be used for business expansion. You already know that whenever a company is developing, it is always followed by its stock's growth. Thus, it has more stable value. It's not magic, it's just economics. Besides, investors know what the company's dividend yield is well in advance. This kind of information ensures them in the company's stability, which is why they aren't afraid of keeping the stocks for a long time and reinvesting the dividend in the same stocks. I'll give you an example here. Let's talk about Tesla. If you watched our video about Tesla unboxing, you can keep playing the game. You know what to do. Tesla doesn't pay dividends, so investors are like addicted to the rise and fall of the stocks. So just before the quarter report is out, each and every investor is in a flutter of expectations. This report shows the results of company's work, its income, etc. You know that, right? And what happens if the investors didn't like this report? That's right, they're selling the stocks, which leads to the plunge in prices. Dividend-paying companies, on the other hand, have an advantage. They announce dividend yield interest in advance. That makes them more trustworthy. In this case, no matter how good or bad the quarter report is, investors are less nervous and won't sell the stocks if they see the figures they don't like. Dividend investor is always more motivated for a long-term investment. He's hoping for constant payouts. Sum up, companies that are paying dividends have more loyal investors as they aren't interested in selling the stocks. I mean, they have their dividends. The only thing they would want to do is purchase more shares. As for the other group of investors, they can only profit from the stock price's growth, which is why those companies face this volatility of stock prices thing. Their investors are less motivated to keep the stocks. They are less loyal. This is why dividend companies have better results during economic downfall. One more thing. How do you evaluate a company that doesn't pay dividends? I mean, you have to believe what the CEO is saying, what and how they are planning to develop, what they have achieved. We can only trust the words we're hearing. On the other hand, dividend-paying companies show how they are developing by payouts. When I invest in the dividend-paying companies, I can be 100% sure that every dollar I get is from this company's profit. Where else would it come from? Others, on the other hand, well, there is no guarantee they are growing. all I can do in that case is trust. You know what else dividends can do? They're capable of doing something called inflation hedge. I'll explain. During the time the dividend interest is increasing, which allows you to buy more stocks, the stock prices grow along with the global economic development. So the simple $100 reinvestment today might bring you thousands of income in 10 years. And that's in spite of inflation and other factors. In a nutshell, you get more profit than what the inflation takes. Stock market bubble. Imagine a child blowing soap bubbles. At some point, the bubble contains as much air as possible, then it collapses. Now, let's say that the children are replaced with investors and the soap bubble by the stock market. Whenever investors blow in too much money, demand defines the price in the way that has nothing to do with common sense. Value, however, should be defined by companies' work. Major market indexes, for example, S&P 500, Dow Jones, and Nasdaq, can illustrate how severely the price can go up during one of those bubbles. On the other hand, the disaster, that's when the bubble collapses, is all about overall market price decrease. Since this situation is connected to the bubble collapse, it's obvious that the investors would want to flee the market, which would definitely result in severe losses. When the stock market shows unusually high rates, you'll probably hear something like, "Hey, that's a bubble." Do you remember what happened on the property market in 2008? The property prices went up high and the stock market broke the record. Then on December 30th, 2008, Case-Shiller announced the landslide of prices, which was followed by the stock market meltdown. If we're getting back to children, that's when the bubble collapses and the kid bursts into tears. Might as well spill all the soap water he still has left. Enough with the soap bubbles. We have one more question to cover. Why do they invest in ETF? First of all, what is ETF? That's easy. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Funds. They're bought and sold throughout the day on stock exchanges, while mutual funds are bought and sold based on their price at day's end. There are plenty of categories that investors can choose from. ETFs are the best choice for conservative long-term investors, especially when the market is fluctuating. That's why they're getting more popular whenever the market is in a blue funk, or when there is a chance of a bubble collapse or inflation growth. Even during the fall, investors are still getting their dividends, so there is no wonder most people prefer them. That's portfolio stabilization, risk minimization, that inflation hedge thing, and stable income source. And let's make the last thing you hear from me today be the ETF dividend examples. iShares Select Dividend and Vanguard High Dividend Yield. You can look into them if you want. Well, I'm gonna go now, but I'll be back with something even more interesting. See you! Oh, by the way, don't forget to smash that like button and share this video with your friends. Thanks! Take care!